Hello and welcome. It is February 14th, 2020. We are here, live coding happy hour. I've got a whole bunch of friends here with me today. We're a party of four. Um, we are going to do some ServiceNow live development. Um, uh, let's start with introductions. Chuck, you want to kick us off?
Hi, my name is Chuck Tomasi, Senior TPM. I'm with ServiceNow. I've been a customer from 2008 to 2010. Been with ServiceNow in one shape or form, doing custom apps integrations and platform stuff since then.
Awesome. Jared?
Hey, I'm Jared Munt, platform and integration and security engineering with Finite Partners, and currently specializing in edge encryption and a few other platform things. And that's about it. And
Awesome.
I'm on SN Devs a lot, I guess. Moderator out on. I think I forgot to mention that last time. So yeah.
And you, Mark?
Hi, I'm Mark Scott. I'm the ITSM team architect for TB Consulting. We're a small MSP that's doing ServiceNow implementations. Specifically, I'm doing a lot of integration work and ITSM rollouts for our clients.
Awesome. I'm Andrew Barnes, developer advocate here at ServiceNow. I work in the platform business unit where our product managers work on the core platform features, and I act as your voice as developers to our platform product managers and do things like this to do outbound engagement for developers. I've been in the space for a little over 5 years. Been doing this role for coming up a year and a half. This is going to be knowledge number 7 for me. Yeah, lucky number 7 knowledge coming up here soon. Um, so, as tradition, we will also go around the horn and introduce what we're drinking. It's okay if you're not drinking alcohol, but just tell us what you got. Same order.
Oh, I promised Mark he could go first on this one. He's got
Oh,
something special to share.
all right. So
Breaking the order.
You
breaking the
bet.
order. My beer's too dark now. You can't tell what my glass
Okay.
is.
It's a
Oh
secret
man.
reveal at the end.
Then
Right.
I'll show what the glass is.
There you go.
It's this
So
CreatorCon Brew Ops glass.
yeah, that I got from CreatorCon Knowledge 19.
What's in
And
it?
in my glass is a local, it's Kilt Lifter from Four Peaks. It's probably my favorite beer on earth. So
Oh, wow.
I almost pulled that out. We
yeah,
almost had the exact same beer today, but I
you know,
said, no,
Nice.
I'm not going to do a kilt lifter today.
you know, it's funny, Chuck. I broke into my stash too and got a pumpkin porter, and I know that they
Ooh.
don't have any, so I'm like, all right, I'm ready to try that one next. So
So I don't know if you guys know Frank Schuster. He used to be at Service Now. Now he's a partner up in Calgary. And he was offered a pumpkin porter on Wednesday night after we did an innovation workshop. And he had the best look. It was just like this German look of disgust and disdain. Like, pumpkin,
You would
what?
offer me what? No.
From the German. And I think Jason McKee said, that'd be illegal in Germany.
So, what's in your CreatorCon glass, Chuck?
In my, what's in your glass? I have the Oak Creek Brewing Company Heffy.
oh, that's a delicious beer.
Nice. Jared?
And today I'm going with a cold brew coffee,
Ooh.
Very nice.
oat milk and horchata. And because it's Valentine's Day, I'm gonna class it up a bit.
All about the glasses today, Andrew.
It is.
You gotta get on your
Nice.
game.
I have a Foothills Brewing,
Mm.
which is here in North Carolina, Torch Pilsner. I should have had this when we were doing the Torch augmented
The
reality show.
VR, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
But I didn't recall this one, but that would have been I saw it in the fridge today. I was like, should have done that on the Torch show.
That was a
would've been
great episode.
That was a
Yeah.
lot of fun. I want to do another episode with those guys again now that they've moved forward some. So awesome. We've got our beers introed. So let's talk about what we're going to do today. So if you were here last week, if you're following along, we're doing some CI/CD stuff from Orlando. Last week, we showed off the APIs and the spokes. in Integration Hub that you can leverage to do this automation. We worked on building a flow to do ATF last week, and I'm not even super upset to maybe give a run of that a try today, because I think what I did wrong was I had a automated test framework client runner running,
Hmm.
but you're supposed to have the scheduled client runner running, not
Oh,
the traditional I want to go hit and run them right now.
good point to make. Yeah,
So I think it might actually work if we just go do that. So we might slip that in
a quick
at
win.
some point. So that's what we did last week. Was we set up pairing between ATFs and a scoped app, and then for that, and this was a subflow because we want to call this in our main flow that will do a build process for us. So that subflows are for that repeatable process that we'll do over and over again, and we'll send it some parameters and get the results back. So today, what I wanted to do was do some of the application and repository stuff that is available. Thankfully, my friend Chuck here uh, helped me get set up with some today so we can use our regular instances as opposed to the demo instances I was going to have to use. So furiously was working on that right before we went live. So I hope everything goes well with it, but we'll roll with,
If it doesn't, you can blame me.
yeah, if it doesn't, it'll just be a regular show. So I will switch to sharing my screen, and then we'll get into an instance and start working on that. So I thought that, so that was when I created it as a flow. So it should be a subflow, launch ATFs. So this is what we were working on last week. So here's that subflow. It had some inputs, the scope and target instance. And, we looked up and looped through which ATF suites to run. And then we were going to execute those in order. Um, I don't know. Should we give it a try?
I'm
I'm
feeling
okay
great.
giving it a one try.
Yeah.
Let's fire up I believe this was the other instance. So we need a scheduled test runner. Let's try with test runner. Scheduled client test runner. And I had this one open, and I think the difference is I need this one, because this one looks for scheduled jobs to run versus a run right now
Interactive.
interactive
Okay.
session run. So if we hit test here, and let me switch to this view and the YouTube so people can actually see things. That should be okay. I need to, sorry, 1 second. I just need to tell it to stop following my presenter. And see how that looks. That looks okay. Doesn't look horrible. All right. So someone will give us feedback if that looks terrible on YouTube, and I'll fix it. But
It's looking pretty good right now. It's not full screen, but that's okay.
so hopefully that has been executed, which is not promising.
Uh-oh. So much for feeling lucky.
At least we can be used as a bad example.
That's kind of what the show is all about. Don't
Invalid
make your
test suite
mistakes.
ID. Hey, that's a fine response. I sent it a bad test suite ID apparently.
Okay. How do we fix that?
We go over here to this one and look to see if I had the test suite ID wrong or something?
Not that we've had IDs wrong yet today, Andrew.
Because
But
that's
you're quick
certainly a
enough to
problem that can happen.
you're quick enough to catch them today, though. Too.
And which one we were using was here in a table. In this instance, what do we call that table? Let's see.
Which one?
This mapping suites to scopes.
Oh, that's right. It had a really long name.
And so here is the test I wanted, which was Agile 2.0 Agile tests. Let's see if there's just something.
No, that was the test. Oh, yeah, the test suite. Huh.
Did I not?
Can you
I
click
thought I
through it?
installed that over here. I'm
Oh,
was
maybe you
reasonably
didn't.
certain, which is why I chose it, but apparently not. So let's choose something that's actually over here.
Good point.
Any of these should be fine. We'll just take this one.
Things that are installed out of the box ought to be on both instances, right?
Yeah. So over here, we just need to update this record to this,
There it is.
and then give it that. I said one try, but that was barely a try.
That was a half try.
That was a half
Mulligan.
try.
He's calling a mulligan.
And I need the test runner running. Oh, it aborted too fast.
Yeah. For each says,
Not run.
how can it not run if it was?
Completed.
The list of output values is empty. Cursors.
Well, let us see what's going on here. That was that. So the scope is this one. Yeah. That test suite. Yeah. So it should have gotten a record. Let's just validate nothing weird with that record. And the executions really were just angry, huh? Guess I had it open.
For each, you had 0 of 0.
Yeah, the
Completed.
No results. So our lookup was bad. Well, that ain't
There's something
good.
wacky with the lookup because it has no
Input scope. I mean, that's a pretty weak. Did something in the input actually? Is that wrong input? Thought I even put a default of the.
It's not taking the default value, is it? That is the default value.
Yeah, that is the default
okay.
value. That looks fine.
Yeah, we tested that Subflow. Are you running from the Subflow or are you running it from the flow?
Subflow.
Okay.
Let's just do application. I don't remember the name. We'll pick it from the paper. Yeah, that one. That has way too many choices. That looks fine. Our record looks fine.
Are we allowed to move on to the next step without doing this one?
Yeah, we absolutely are.
All right, we'll give this another minute or so. We want to see a light bulb go on.
That looks fine. How are we not getting that though? Seems Scope's here. Application scope is,
You still have that operational view handy?
I think it dropped application scope name because that's what it was before, was the name.
Name versus scope versus
Versus
sysID.
And we wanted the application, not name, but the
scope.
scope.
That's what we had.
I thought that's what was in there.
That's what
Yeah.
was in there. You try the hard-coded value?
And, if we go and do the same here, it would be, show related fields and application scope is this
X
thing.
underscore da 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 da.
Because we validate in the list view first. Then we come over
Looks
here
good.
and we go run, my friend. And then we'll be done. It's taking a little while.
That's the good delay.
It ended
Oh.
malformed.
Hey, we
Malformed
broke it.
URL.
That's better.
Yeah,
That's better.
another positive error as opposed
That's another
to
positive error.
with a hard-coded value, but it's moving.
I'll finish this offline and come back with it the next time we work on this CI/CD stuff. Let's get on to our new Subflow today, to show off some of the new stuff. So we are going to let's take a look at the list and decide what we wanted first, which was over here in our actions in the continuous integration. We were going to look at these application repo choices. So we want to publish an app and install an app and roll back an app. So let's start with publish an app because it's harder to install without one in there. So let's publish an app.
And
So
Andrew,
we'll
for
yeah.
context, is this executing in prod, being triggered by something outside of ServiceNow or being triggered by a subprod? What's the context for what we're looking at right now?
So the context of what we're looking at right now is subflows that can be invoked from a flow that is run. I think we decided that this would be in a prod setting with a table that's going to drive it to when it wants to run. So that could be something automated internally that's creating records in that table to say, hey, go install this app. And then that triggers a build process, or if it's just a pure install, then it'll just run installs. If it's saying, hey, I need to do a build process for this scope, that might be run ATF, run another subflow for peer review. Then after the approval of the peer review, run another subflow to publish to the repo, and then a install from the repo. So we've got these modular pieces that we're building for this process. And we do expect it to live in our production instance. And we're simulating things that could also be done by a third-party system with the same APIs that we're calling from the scoped actions are available from outside ServiceNow as well. So you could either invoke the subflows that we're doing via API externally, or you could just call the new CI/CD APIs that are available out of the box.
Got it.
So this is going to be publish to repo Subflow. And let's go ahead and put that in our CI/CD scope. And we're going to run this as system. All right, so now we need to create some inputs, and we're going to accept in. So the things that are mandatory that we're going to need are, let's take a look. But I suspect we're going to need scope and the application or the target. Right. Oh, well, there's no target here, so it's just the repo.
There's just a repo, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we need to publish application with scope or ID. We're going to choose scope, I think.
It's URL credential alias.
So we can pass it an instance URL because as we pointed out, we'll be running this in production, and the production version will tell the subprod to do the publishing.
Hmm.
So we'll need scope and instance. We might throw in some of these others, but for now, for sure, we need scope and instance.
Mm-hmm.
So scope. And again, I'm not going to use a reference. So last week we decided we weren't going to use a reference here because production may not know about this scope yet.
Right.
So it may not be a scope that the prod instance even knows exists.
Unless we wanted to dig deeper into dynamic input, but we're not going there today.
Yeah, we're not.
Or remote table or something.
Yeah, we're going to keep our
brute force
our
it for
failure
now.
points lower today.
Failure point. Wow, Andrew, avoiding failure is not the same thing as achieving success. You know,
Right.
That's very true.
More opportunity
But when
for
you're
success points.
when you're learning a new thing, taking swings at one new thing at a time helps
Yes.
build the tree faster.
Mhm.
take the simple path first.
And then we can add in the complex things once we know it works.
I just got done with cleaning up a whole bunch of code that was written over the last 6 months and went, wow, these 3 REST resources look awful similar, and condensed 3 of them into one and said, there, new endpoint.
So it looks like I probably really will want version, because that's an input that's really needed at the other end. Yeah, I probably do want version as an input. Now that really will be something that a dynamic would be super useful for, is the version.
Yeah, because you could go grab the current version, plop it in there, and say,
Because I
what do
will
you
really
want it
want
to
to
be?
know what that is.
Yeah, if it's 358, you might want to make it 359 or 360 or 4.0. Or use a random number generator.
I have deployed.
Just don't go backwards in your version numbers, or you'll get that nice red message.
So as far as an action goes, this one's pretty straightforward. So hopefully we get some victory pretty quick here. So let's go ahead and set some defaults before this thing gets angry at me. So we're going to go create a new, so we're going to pop into our dev instance, which is this imp A, and we're going to create a new application.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to call this, Mark, what's our application today?
Beer.
Cough drops or beer. That's good. There you go.
Cough drop
Oh man.
beer.
Oh golly, that's the worst.
18 characters limited.
Cough drop beer.
I regret my decision.
So let us create
going
something
back to
in here.
milkshakes.
Let's
Glad I didn't say hot dog.
in a script include. Beer flavors. All right. So now we have a script include.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's better.
Now we have a script include.
Submit.
And I could probably make this a little bigger. So we now have an app. It is not yet published at all. And so we will go here to my company's applications and check for not installed apps. So it's not here in the repository right now. And our goal is to
go get it.
Go get it. So we need we want this. to be our default
It's now cough
value.
drop B.
Cough drop B. That's what I saw too, Chuck.
Nice.
Well, at least it's more like honey lemon or something.
Right.
Did it actually truncate the?
It did.
It
Yeah.
did.
All right.
Yeah.
Good job.
So
The
watch out for that
instance,
one.
As Jared said, 18 characters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I didn't want you to create a 6-character scope. A company
That's true.
code.
You were like, 6 characters is a lot.
It's that valuable text resource.
Sounds like an old Fortran program.
Done.
It sounds like
Let's
a
give it
DVA.
save. It's not angry with us on the save. That's nice.
Or a DOS file name 8.3.
And this is going to be 0.0.1. So our expectation here is that it will actually publish this application from IMP-A into our repository, and then we would be able to see it in Mandalorian.
That's our expectation. We've been waiting a half an hour to take a drink of beer.
Invalid application version downgrade. All right.
How can you have an invalid version? It's the first version.
All right. So that is a failure. Let's see if we can get any other details.
It was a 400. It's a bit tough to read. Okay.
Yeah. What we didn't do is we didn't set up
Credential alias?
any credentialing,
Mm.
but
I thought we did. I thought we had basic.
I thought we had credentialing set up for this record. Let's see. So we did have basic off. All right. We did set this up. Okay. Because 400 is, not what I expect here.
No.
Method
You're
failed,
right.
400. Invalid application version downgrade.
I'll tell you, I want to do 0.1.0. I don't know.
Let's see what it throws here. Let's give
It
a
starts
1.
at 1.
Let's give it a 1.
That doesn't seem fair for a first version.
No
That's just-
CI/CD for beta programs.
That's just defaults.
1.
Right, because we're telling it what version. And
Pending.
200.
Look at that.
Hey, 101 is a binary high five for me.
That's promising.
And
So let
it's
us.
published, so now we should be able to refresh this and see.
Yeah, let's give this a
Refresh.
no.
Oh.
Oh.
Darn.
Want, 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 want.
I got one of those. If you
So
want.
let's check here.
Or were you thinking of this one?
That's it.
That was closer to my mimicry, but I did mean the first one. So you're
So
right on both accounts.
It caught. So it caught the 101.
Where'd it go?
So let's check it here.
I'm not saying this could be our app repo. No, we already tried the publish thing. It worked. We did a manual publish.
Yeah, I did a manual publish and I checked to make sure that this instance was picking up things from the repo. So
Yep.
This is the one we published.
Yeah. That was our manual test before the show started.
In development. How come it is not listed here? There it is.
Tough
There
job.
it is.
External application.
Do our scopes match?
It shouldn't say external application for
No. That's what you usually get
for the
when you-
instance in which I created it. Not from my company.
Right. The company's the same.
I don't know that I've fully convinced this instance that this is not my company. Let's
Check
see.
properties.
So it doesn't have a publish to repo here,
Nope.
but it should. That is troubling. But it did version it from this call over here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm not understanding. Let's try it from here. Let's make a change. It's time for a change. Time for a cool change.
Thanks, man. Little River Band is going to be stuck in my head, and I'm going to sing karaoke tonight.
And we'll do a publish to 2. I like to publish the cool change.
I'm old enough to know when that song was new. Oh, what?
Oh. What do you
How
mean?
does that happen?
What do you mean username or password invalid there, buddy? That's not a thing.
That's a
That's not a
cool error
thing.
message.
That's not a thing, buddy. So that's why I got the 102 is because it did it locally
Right.
and then ran into an error.
But return to 200 is totally deceptive.
I mean, we go take a look at the system.
Not the first time I've
logs.
seen an API return 200 and still be an error.
It's not any of our first times at that, I don't think.
Or last, I have a bad feeling.
So let us see here. Okay, good. I looked on my other screen and I had the starting screen, but it's because I paused over there. That makes plenty of sense. Less than a minute from now. I have errors less than a minute from now in the future. That's funny. Thanks. This is not helpful. Logs. Oh, I have way too many things running to find that error. Okay. Well, what could the login problem be? I'm getting the applications from the repo because I saw the one I published earlier.
We need like a. I'm going to check something real quick. See if we need like an SN repo account or something.
So I can install apps from the repo.
How did we do that manual one before? That worked just fine.
Was just a different instance.
Was it? Oh, it was. Okay, yeah. We weren't developing on
this one.
Your employee instance.
So shall we just switch instances? I'm not super wild about that, but I know that this one can publish to the repo.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any accounts on either of mine that are hooked up to that same repo.
So here is the app. Let us open up a file. Let's make it.
You customers at home won't run into this because you're not setting up your own repo.
Yeah, you won't. You won't. We have some problems that are unique,
self-inflicted
internally. Yes. So let us test the cool things. API.
It's the best API I've ever seen. Truncated.
AJB test then.
All right.
And now we can go to our test in our flow, which is here. Change our scope to this. Change our instance to that. And that should be a fine version. Run test.
Should be being the
Oh,
final keyword.
we didn't set up auth for this one.
Oh, no, we didn't.
That
man.
should definitely fail. We're not even going to look. In fact,
We
I
didn't
even have it. I
use
have
the
it open
credentials
here.
and stuff.
We'll just dev program.
No shrubbery for you.
No shrubbery for me. All right. So I changed the credentials. We run a new test. Those are fine. Run test. Please provide a value for version. Because I set it to default, now it wants that. Whatever, man. You saved 5 times before, but now you want it.
If I could change one thing with that flow designer, it's that bottom notification. It's just not pertinent enough. Like it's got to pop in your face,
especially on big screens.
Yeah,
it's way down in the bottom right, and I'm like,
was that an email message?
Yeah.
That was fast. Malformed Earl. Okay.
Oh, we're back to Earl. Okay.
What is malformed about it? Where is the Earl? Should be.
Was it the Earl with the credentials, or was it the Earl with the? Which one?
I don't see a malformed right here. Well, that looks like a perfectly fine instance, Earl.
Unless you got to take the tail slash off. I don't know.
I didn't last time.
Well, yeah, and it didn't warn you about the version thing either.
Yeah. And this time,
400.
400.
Who's not happy?
Method failed. Does not represent any resource.
Is that an Orlando instance?
Yeah, no.
That'll do
it's
it.
Not. That'll do it. That'll do it for sure. These APIs don't exist in New York.
Maybe the repo instance is New York. I'm wondering if we have an Orlando to New York thing. If the repo has to stay ahead somehow.
Because I was able to publish from a New York one.
Yes.
All right. Well, so we're going to pretend that worked really great.
Good hypothesis. I like it.
Take a drink.
Take a drink. Because it did the right things locally. Like it did over here in the IMP-A instance, actually do everything that I could do manually, which is update it locally to think it's published, change the version, and tell the app repo that, and push to the app repo. So it did all the things that manual would do. So now let us deploy from so let's publish this guy, a new version.
I might just need to upgrade the private store to Orlando files.
That's probably where we're hitting so I published this cool things app, and now we will make an action to install it over here in this other instance. So publishing seems to work okay. So a um, let's give just we'll just call the actions directly on this. I don't think we need a subflow for this. Um, we built one for publish to repo, but the launch ATF ones definitely needed to be a subflow because it's looking up things and running through multiple ones, multiple ATFs and getting their results and processing those. So that makes sense as a subflow, but maybe the publish to repo and the install might not need to be subflows at all.
Yeah. Do you have a threshold of if it's going to be 5 actions, you don't do a subflow, but if it's going to be 6 actions, you do a subflow, or what's your rule of thumb?
I think it's if it's repeatable and if it's complex enough logic, go ahead and throw it in a subflow. And in our case, this subflow is basically an action.
Or
It's accepting the same things as the action is.
I'm going to put a secondary clause on that if you're going to invoke it from a script and you need to pass it inputs. Subflow.
I can invoke an action directly from a script.
You can do an action. Oh, you're right.
Yep.
You're right.
That's relatively new, but we can invoke flows, subflows, and actions directly.
I think the thing to keep in mind too is how extensible the subflows become as opposed to just the single actions, right? If I need to add more actions into a subflow, I can do that, but I can't if it's a single action. It becomes a lot harder.
That's very true. So for the sake here, I think we'll just install the application directly in a flow from the
You
action.
can invoke a flow from a script, but you can't pass it parameters. It doesn't have an inputs.
Right.
Got
so
it.
let's give got some defaults here. Oh, that's not even the right stuff. This guy.
The right stuff. Now I'm old enough to remember that song.
Oh boy.
Nice.
I think I had kids by that time.
Scope, instance URL. We want this one.
I'm not singing that in karaoke.
Before a certain time.
or amount of alcohol.
We need to actually update this. I should have made a new one, but I was being lazy. And we want to install 3. So over here in my applications, we have installed this app, and there should be, if we go check, a new version that we don't have installed. So we should have an option here to install.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, it says
Hey, buddy.
Come on.
There we go.
There it is.
So,
Yep.
Upgrade me,
so
baby.
we could do this manually, but we're not going to because we love automation. So we're going to install 103, and we are going to, say this is a run once, in the past. Save and test it. And 200. That's looking promising. And over here, hey, there's even a indicator.
Woohoo.
Look at that.
There it is.
New
One.
version.
Nice.
So we can come over here to Studio and switch into that, which was, I don't know its name. What was its name?
Cool things.
Uh,
Cool something.
no, it was,
It had thin in it. I remember that.
yeah, it had thin
So-
in it. AJB test. No, I guess the studio is too old.
Yeah.
Just give studio a refresh. Switch.
They're sorted by created date. It should be there.
Oh, I can't pull it up here because this is
You're in
not.
prod.
It's dev instance.
Yes.
This is a retrieved.
Yep. I noticed that too.
application.
And it's a little frustrating sometimes when you go to debug something that's been pushed via the repo. It's like, I want to just see what's going on or trigger something. It's like, nope. Studio, you're not supposed to jock with Studio in prod. That's just wrong. So we're keeping you from doing something you
Well,
shouldn't.
I'd like to be able to open it in things below prod. So in my case, this would be
Yeah.
acting as like my test instance, and I'd want to open it in Studio,
Oh,
but I
okay.
can't.
Okay. Right.
So we've got files, and we should have our script include that didn't exist before we installed the new version of the app because we just created that. So here's our script include that we created. Cool things. And this being one of my fun things in the script editor. I love using that contextual menu to get to the
So did that change at all
definitions.
between New York and Orlando?
No. So there are some new things in Orlando in the script box, but this one was added in New York. So open definitions and find references is actually Orlando.
That's new. Yeah.
So what this will do is find all the places that this script include has been referenced in scripts.
Is that basically like the code search?
It is a form of code search, but it's starting to do the dependencies, and it's actually useful enough to just go take a look and see. This one didn't have any references, but let's what's one that actually absolutely has one?
Array util.
Array util.
Oh boy.
So if we open up our array util and use this find references, it's doing an equivalent to the Studio code search.
Wow.
To find all of the places that array util is invoked in scripts.
In a nice little modal that
In a nice
open
modal.
very quickly.
I like that. Although it doesn't show you what context.
Line numbers. Or,
it doesn't give you all the context that Studio would when you do the same search. But when you're working on a script include, it'll really give you some idea of the applications that are dependent on your script include that you're about to adjust.
Very nice.
And we're looking to enhance this to do even more than this so that this can be run programmatically and be part of your code reviews and things to show you the dependencies between your scripts, so that you can do better risk calculations and understand the implications of what you're doing as a developer and what it'll affect downstream.
Almost like script includes are going into the CMDB now. That's kind of interesting.
that is in fact how we're going to represent them graphically, is in the same manner. So we're going to build the related dependencies for them and be able to show that is our hope.
So have a little relationship map with the calls and relies on.
So the last thing that we'll sidetrack here, I mean, this is Orlando stuff, so it's germane, is and of course it's not going to show me because I don't have it enabled on this instance. I need to go to Mandalorian has it, I believe. So any of these should be fine. So if you're familiar with the script debugger, we have the breakpoints and the conditional breakpoints that are there for, stopping and using the script debugger to visualize what's going on. Well, now we've add a log point. So instead of when I need to debug this, either just dropping straight into the debugger or adding in, silly stuff like
gs.info.
gs.info here. Hello. Um, so instead of doing this in my script and
And
including
saving
my
it.
script
Mm-hmm.
and saving it there, what I'll instead do is add a log point right there with that. And now I have a log point that contains that, and that will get invoked and run that that script line, but it doesn't get stored in my application file directly.
Is it going to show up in the debugger in the logging output?
It will show up in the same manner as putting this in the script would.
Okay, so system logs, the whole 9
So
yards.
it'll show up either in the so it'll show up wherever you expect it and invoke it to show up. So
But only by you, not by all
only
other
for your
10
session.
developers on the instance.
And is it also going to hit it if it's async? Because breakpoints don't stop when you're running in the background.
It's probably interactive if it's like the others.
I don't remember that actually.
Want to do a test? We got a few minutes.
What else did we want to deploy here? I think we could be diverted with that. I think I could be fine with being diverted. Let's just look to see what else, if there's anything else interesting in the app repo. So install and rollback. So we did the install, we did the publish, and rollback's the same as install. Yeah, we'll get diverted. So we are in this instance. We let's just throw a business rule. Come on. Business rule. Why aren't you favorited? Our handy dandy incident table debug testing business rule. So here is a GS log.
Okay.
Let's drop into the correct scope. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. We don't want to be in that one. Here, we'll come over here to a new, we'll make a new one.
Wondering what you were showing.
Not today. Some other day soon. We will show that.
Experimental.
Debug the things. Incident table. Let's do me. And we will throw in I don't even need to do anything. Why am I bothering? We'll just throw in a log point. We have to save. Throw in a log point. I have friends. An array of Freds. All right. Hello, array of Freds. Let us show what the current dot number is.
That's got to be a nod to Fred Luddy, correct? An array of Freds, like, unless that's a weird typo.
It's a new data type.
Yeah, Freds.
So we've got a GS log. I have an array of Freds. Andrew's approval.
You can't do GS log in a scope tab. Oh, that's not a scope.
It is a scope tab.
It is a scope tab.
That is very good. Let us do an error.
So is that an important point to make there, Andrew? Like that the scope of your script is going to be the scope of whatever that breakpoint set is.
Yeah. Yes. The log point. It's as if you put it in the script directly. It's just not going to be stored directly in the script. So whichever line, just pretend like you have line 3.5, and this is run exactly like it appears here in the mouse over. As 3.5 before 4 does.
Gotcha.
So how long are those persistent? I mean,
they are just for your session is what I believe.
Okay.
So They are just while you can only set them here.
So if I
So
log
we
out and
should
come
be able
back
to
tomorrow,
see
they're all gone. Which
In
maybe
like a, yeah, were
so
the other
in our
ones in,
script debugger.
they were in user preferences, correct?
So well,
Okay.
I've got one from a different. Now, did we put that one today?
We
Or
just
we
did
put
that one.
today.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
So these are just from this session because I know I've had them in this instance before today. So we've got it. We can see it, and now let's invoke it.
This could be very handy.
When to run before insert and update on the short description starts with Fred. Very good.
And the winner is
So we expect to be able to come here to our session log. No, why aren't you there? You should have gotten invoked and you should have logged. Why don't you like me?
On breakpoints, I've always had problems if I chose an empty line as opposed to choosing a variable or choosing a scripted line. Is that?
Well, we can throw something in here and just
var I equals 0. I don't care.
yeah. We did the things. We're gonna at least set
Sure, just
limit
instantiate a new glide record. Who cares? That's a
one.
line of code.
Bread candy is fun too for
Lead
WoW.
operation was granted. So
Now I have to change my email password.
It's the code phrase to get into the club.
So what I
Refresh.
didn't do was turn on logging.
Aha.
But it did actually invoke the
Business rule.
the business rule that time, and granted my cross scope privilege. So it did seem to need to be on a line that actually had something. And other window? No, I said other window. In a different
There's
way.
another window. There's your error.
I have an array of Freds.
Nice.
And there they are.
Okay, and it's highlighted, which makes it nice and easy to find. Or is that just because it's an error?
It's because it's an error.
Okay.
So there you go. So now you can see how to insert a log point.
A temporary log statement.
A temporary log statement. So you don't have to add them in and then go back and remove them and then possibly make it so that that record hasn't, removed the today's update from it so that when you deploy from a subprod, you don't get well, this record is not as new as the one local. So really, really good for the debugging, certainly at higher level instances. So after something's deployed, this can be useful. So this could be useful in production. Make sense?
Totally.
Awesome. Well,
I like it. I'm going to use that.
Yeah, me too.
Let's stop. So yeah, if you haven't looked at the script debugger and the session logger, some really cool stuff here. In January, I wrote a blog about debugging that highlighted some of these things, and especially being able to toggle these on and off here, and then do filtering and searching right here in one window. I'm a big fan of this the new script debugger window. Like it's making me happy. So let's turn our cameras back on. Everybody else beat me to it. I will go and switch the view just a little bit here so that it looks good. Nope, that failed. Horribly. There we are. So soon enough, hopefully even next week, I'll be able to announce my new teammate. And they'll be able to
Ooh,
help with the
very
running of the
cool.
show. So I don't have to look crazy while I'm juggling all the bits all at once. So that was great. So we got to at least try some more of the ATF, and I'll do that offline a little bit because I think we're really close on the ATF bit, and that's really the one I want the most for
Yeah.
me is whenever I'm getting ready to be ready to commit, I want to be able to run all the ATFs, have it automated, and have it recorded next to the story that I'm working, the status of that test run. So I think that is one of the most important ones to me. The rest of these so far, like committing to the repo and deploying from the repo, they're useful. They're good to be there, but the ATF one is really going to be may lower the bar for people running multiple ATF suites in an automated fashion, I think, and that will lead to better development and better deployments. So let's go around the horn and rate our drinks.
I think I
Chuck's
was first.
first.
The Oak Creek Brewing Company Hefeweizen wheat beer. I'm going to give it a 3.25. It wasn't my favorite Hefe. There was something a little, I don't know, not hoppy because that wouldn't be a Hefe. But just there was something about it that didn't agree with me. It eventually grew on me, which I like it, but it wouldn't be my go-to beer. So
What
3 and a
wasn't
quarter.
as pleasurable as you would have liked?
No, it wasn't as smooth. Maybe it needed a lime or something. I don't know.
Ooh. And Mark, I suspect yours is a 5 because you
Yeah,
were
yeah.
like, I know this, I love it, it's the
It's
best.
I couldn't help. Like I didn't I just kept taking drinks out of it, even though we weren't getting anywhere. I just kept drinking because I was
You can
I'm like,
still
well,
drink
either
for
way.
sorrow. I mean, oh, it didn't
Right.
work. I'm
No,
gonna
that
drink it. Maybe that'll help.
it's a day ending in Y. So
So is that your 5 for sure?
that's my 5 for sure, definitely.
Wow.
Yeah,
Are there other
100%.
5s?
Yeah, I'd be hard pressed. I'd be hard pressed to find another 5.
I like
Really,
it.
this is the
A
one that
man with a
I.
clear winner. I
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
a clear
Yep,
winner.
100%.
And I know what to get him for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
If Chuck
And you,
Tomasi
Jared?
shows up at my door with beer on Valentine's Day, that's like dream come true.
That'd be pretty sweet. I mean, I won't complain of hardly anyone showing up at the door.
Yeah, anybody, but
with
Chuck
beer.
especially, right? Yeah.
And if they want to talk service
Cupid
now,
outfit.
let's do it.
I'm not going to be dressing up as Cupid. Don't forget that.
I think it would
It'd be a
work.
hard conversation.
Just
And
a diaper
your,
and a bow tie. If I
Oh,
can picture
man.
it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I did go there. I wasn't going to say.
Now I'm into it. Now I'm going, yeah. Now it's yes.
So great. Yeah, moving on. I'm
Oh, you got to show
Stumptown.
us it in the glass.
He was
Stumptown,
sipping
yeah.
it as soon as the camera's back
Yeah.
came back on. He was
Nice.
Refilled this just about empty. Refilled it a couple times during the show. I would give it a 4.0. I'd
Nice.
buy it again. I'd probably try some of the other flavors first before running out and buying a case.
And
That's
my
awesome.
Torch Pilsner, I really like Foothills Brewing, but this is a 3.5. 3.5. It's good. I'll drink it again, but it's not at the top of the list. It's decent. So awesome. Did we have anything hanging around from the chat, Chuck?
No, a couple
They
of
just
comments about
said,
the repo and
"Don't be
whatnot.
silly." They told us,
No.
"Don't be silly."
Good comments. Yeah, it just like, oh, does this match or did you forget that? And we eventually caught that stuff. So
We got most of those.
yeah.
So this has been fun. I will definitely get the ATF ironed out, and when I do, I'll actually update the original. So last week's video with the description of whatever I didn't do correctly, so that the folks when they watch that they can just pick up right from that same video and finish it off in the correct way. And what I'd like to do next is I'm going to work a little bit offline and put together a main flow and pair that with a table. So we had a table that related the scopes and the ATFs,
Sure.
and I'm going to make another table that's going to be um, a build table essentially that will be the driver of my flow
Hmm.
and will be the inputs for actions to be performed by my flow against those applications. And then we'll slot in our subflows that we've created and be able to have a whole build chain in one flow based off that table to do any of those actions in that CI/CD scope. And then we'll start adding on some other things like doing a peer review and getting an approval for that. And so the things we'll need to build are the commit to source control. So that'll be coming up. That'll be the next thing that we build on the show. And I'll show off the flow and we'll run it a few times with the subflows that we have at the end of that. Anything else that jumps out that you would want, any of you three, in this process?
No, I think that's pretty much a good picture of the end flow that customers are typically going to be using. I'll do some checking on the back end to find out if we have a version mismatch between the repo client and the repo
Oh yeah,
itself. So
I
I'll
appreciate that.
take care of that.
Awesome. So join us on developer.servicenow.com. Get your personal developer instance. Follow any of our free training. Um, I didn't mention it earlier, but both of these fine gentlemen joining us today are developer MVPs. Uh,
Uh,
well, in fact, three of you are MVPs. So Chuck is now community MVP, and so these are the folks that are really spending a lot of time on our community and helping out and building content and sharing with people and answering questions. And so that's why we have them on the show, so that they can help us directly and share and then promote their things. Do either of you have anything interesting that have you deployed anything to share recently, or somewhere that folks should reach you at, or anything like that?
Go ahead, guys. Give a plug.
Give a plug.
I've been doing a weekly ServiceNow oriented live stream. You can check that out on my Twitch channel at PHXDEV Phoenix Dev, or my Twitter at the same handle.
Awesome.
nice. But no, I'm getting organized. Ask me again in about 3 weeks, and I'll have,
Good
I'll
answer.
have some answers. And I guess anyone thinking about and wanting to get more involved, just start doing something. Get a GitHub account. Just do something small. Over time, it definitely adds up. And I'll see you out on SN Devs and out on community. Reach out to me if you want some advice, looking over anything, or yeah, just
Awesome.
a lot of people out ready to help you be successful out on these
And we're
channels.
gearing up heavily for Knowledge in Orlando here in 78
78 days.
days from now.
Who's counting?
The countdown is on. We'll be excited to be down there. Chuck and I will both be giving workshops and theater talks, and I'll be in the competition space in the expo hall. So we'll be there and engaged. Look for more content coming out about that. And first look for anyone next week. I'm going to show off what our revamped developer site's going to look like. So join us back next week, and I'll give a little preview of what our facelift for the developer site will be. And there will also be a blog on the developer site highlighting that. So that'll be coming up next month, the launch, but we're just going to give you some intro to that starting next week. And have a great weekend and a lovely Valentine's Day if you're watching this live. And I hope you had a good one if you watch it in the future. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.